Hello and welcome. My name's Simon from CramTheExam, and this is week 2, day 1 of your 12-week preparation course to get you ready for your English exam, whether it's the FCE, CAE or Matura Advanced Exam. In this video, I'm going to have a look at two Part 2 exercises. So for the FCE first, I'm going to have a look at articles. For the Part 2 CAE writing exercise, I'm going to be looking at proposals. And instead of reinventing the wheel, what I'm going to do in this video is actually have a look at the resources which are available to you on the internet. Fantastic resources that pretty much tell you step by step how to do each writing exercise. There are some fantastic resources out there and I'm going to take you through them. So let's begin. Okay, so let's start off by having a look at the website resources that are available to you if you're writing the FCE first article question. There are going to be 3 websites that I'm going to show you. 2 of them will take you through the structure of how to answer the website, the structure, phrases that you can use, how best to get the reader's interest, and give you model answers to questions. The 3rd website is full of fantastic advice given by a person who has marked lots of exam papers and has written lots of materials to help people get ready for the FCE first writing exam. So let's have a look at these. The first website is rubenvalero.com, a fantastic website. Go check out all of the information on that website. FCE article. First of all, it gives you a brief overview of what it's all about. An article is usually written for an English language magazine or newsletter, and the reader is assumed to have similar interests to the writer. The main purpose is to inform, interest, engage the reader, so there should be some opinion or comment. So that's what an article is. Then we've got some hints which talk about the structure of the article. So add a short title, introduce the topic, divide your report, it should be article, divide your article into sections according to the input, 1 or 2 paragraphs will do, and then develop the ideas and task input. So how to do that. Use a personal and neutral style, but not formal, because an article is written for informal, or in terms of register, it's written in an informal way or in a neutral way, not formal. Of course, show a range of structures, make sense, give examples where appropriate, use humour where appropriate, and of course, give a conclusion and a summary. So here, what we've got here is the structure of the paragraph structure of how you should write the article. Now what follows are examples of vocabulary, examples of language for each part of the article. So here, involving the reader. So this talks about the introduction, how to make your writing lively and interesting through the use of adverbs, how to develop your points, how to give your own opinions. And then at the bottom of this webpage, we've got 3 model questions and 3 answers to those. So you can see how all of the advice which you've been given on this web page can be applied in practice. The second web page is the fantastic web page again, EnglishExamHelp.com, which presents very similar information in a slightly different way. So first of all, it tells you how do you start. Well, you start with the introduction and what should be in your introduction. Here is vocabulary that you might consider for using in your introduction. And most importantly, as we're learning how to approach the article, what we've got here is an example. And this is the introductory sentence to this model question. So read that and then you've got the advice that follows. Similarly, you've got then the following paragraph. What do we write in the following paragraph? Well, here we go. Here's how you give a strong opinion. Here's how you add and develop ideas. Whoops, my highlighting is a bit off. There, no, not almost there. There we go. And then give examples. Then it's the next paragraph. What do you do in the 3rd paragraph? And then finally, in conclusion, what you have to do in the concluding paragraph and language which you can use. So another really helpful breakdown. Not only that, as you can see just above my head, there are plenty of exam tips, general exam tips on how to approach the article. So once again, lots of great advice there in order to make sure, and if you follow that, you'll make sure that you'll get the highest the highest chance of getting the most marks. Now, the last page is examenglish.com, and as I said, it was written by someone who's got plenty of experience teaching this and marking writing papers, Nicola Prentice, so big shout out to her. Real advice. The reader is identified. Number one, an article is like a direct conversation with the reader. Number two, it has to get attention. And the advice given here is that your article should be written to something in a similar style to that of clickbaiting. It has to be interesting. And it gives you some real-world advice. For example, remember how bored the examiner must be after reading 50 exam papers. Make it easier to them to get a good impression, let me just scroll it up, about your writing by entertaining them. So this goes back to that first web page which says use humour when appropriate. Add humour, real life or made up examples or made up quotes. So here you can really go to town, make up whatever you want as long as you're achieving the goal of your article. It has to be easy to read, so this talks about the paragraph structure in using the article and write a good ending. And really, really importantly, common mistakes students make in articles. So there we go. It's going to take you some time to read through this information and to not only just read it, but to learn it and start to use it. But that's the whole point of getting ready for the writing paper. The more preparation you do now, the easier it will be in the English exam itself. So don't start off by thinking, oh God, I've got to invest 2 hours or 3 hours of my time. You have to invest 2-3 hours of your time at a minimum in order to get the best possible marks, which is why this course is 12 weeks, and even that's not that long in the whole scheme of things. So if you go onto the Facebook pages, for example, and you join lots of Facebook groups for the FCE or the CAE, there's plenty of groups out there for you if you're doing that, then you can see people doing submitting plenty of examples of their writing for other people to have a look at and to get comments on. Some people are even submitting 10, 12, 15 examples of writing exercises to get feedback from that community to say, am I doing this well? What do I need to improve? And that's the kind of time that you need to invest to make sure that you get the highest possible marks from your writing paper. Okay, so let's have a look at the CAE Advanced Proposal Part 2 writing question. Now, the great thing about the proposal is that it's incredibly formulaic. In other words, it has a structure. You have to follow that structure. That structure is easy to remember, and the rules for writing a proposal are easy to remember, which means that as a possible Part 2 question, this one is quite an easy question, because as long as you remember the formula for how to do this, the structure for how to do this, and what the proposal is about, you shouldn't do too badly. And of course there are specific language patterns that you can use in every single section of the proposal. So as long as you practice the proposal and stay within the rules, there is really no reason why you shouldn't get good marks. So the proposal really should be one of the Part 2 questions that you think seriously about. So let's go through the proposal and find out why it might be a good thing for you to do. Well, first of all, this webpage, stgeorges.co.uk, excellent webpage, lays out the CAE proposal in beautiful detail. It says that you've got to write first of all, it highlights the similarity between the proposal and the report in terms of the structure of the answer, the structure of the writing. But the key thing about the proposal is what it says here. You probably can't see it that well on the screen. Your answer for the proposal should be more concerned about the possibilities of what may happen. Therefore, the majority of writing should be concentrated on future recommendations. And that's the key thing about the proposal, is that you're talking about the present, about when you're outlining the situation, what the situation is, but everything that you propose is exactly that, a future proposal or a future recommendation. So In order to do this well, you've got to be really familiar with how you talk about the future. So let's go through the CAE Proposal Essentials. Remember to answer the question you were asked. Use a clear and simple layout with headings for each section. Proposals require headings. Write in a formal and impersonal style. Use bullet points if writing out long sentences. Total word count 220 to 260 words. Start the proposal with a clear sentence that states the purpose or aim, and finish your answer with a final sentence that is a summary of your opinion. So what it's saying is, as you're writing through the proposal, make sure your conclusion agrees with what you've just written. So is it normally a good idea to know what your conclusion is, and then through the planning process, make sure everything that you're going to write in the middle goes in that direction. The worst thing you can do is start talking about lots of things in your argument and then come up with a completely different conclusion. So this is the formulaic or specific structure that I was talking about. You start with, let me just highlight that again. You start with an introduction, you have a current situation, these are my suggestions, final recommendations. It's that simple. These are your headings. And then the web page goes on to show you examples of formal language that you can use in every single section. So what to say in the introduction, what to say in the current situation, suggestions or your proposals which refer to the future, and final recommendations. And here at the bottom it links to a well-known video which you can find on YouTube, which also takes you through how to do proposals, also highly recommended. The second web page is, we've seen this before with the FCE article, Ruben Valero. He breaks down what a proposal is. And it might be helpful to think of this as proposals are action plans for the future. So you give more space to recommendations in a proposal. So that's what a proposal is. He gives you some great advice. Brainstorm ideas, group your ideas in headings for each section of the proposal, write a first draft paying attention to the formality of the language. Now, you won't have the time to write a first draft, but what you will do is have time, about 5 minutes or so, to plan effectively. And that's what I suggest he's talking about here. Don't forget by stating the purpose of your proposal, very, very important. Use, here it says impersonal, semi-formal. I would go with semi-formal, formal. Once again, highlights again. Use clear layout with headings. Express opinions and recommendations in the last section of your proposal. This talks about your recommendations, in other words, your conclusions, but your suggestions, of course, come before that. Include a final sentence summarizing your opinion. Use bullet points, but not too many. And then once again, it goes through useful language for a proposal, section by section. And then, as you'll see at the end, you've got some model questions and some model answers. And these answers you can see. Introduction. Problem when studying abroad, so this is the situation. Ways a course could address this. Suggestions. And then recommendations. This is what I think we should do based on the suggestions. Proposal number 2. Model answer. Introduction. Current situation. Things that we need to address. Recommendations. So it's the same structure, and you'll see. So it's a very, very clear and defined structure for the CAE proposal, which is one of the reasons why it's easy. Easier, I should say. And then if you haven't come across caeexamtips.com, then you really need to go check out that website. This is a great page because it actually not only gives you the basic information about what a proposal is, but it actually talks you through the building of a proposal. And let me just take you, once again, it highlights that video on YouTube that you should go and check out. And here we go. This section is the good bit. Let's write a CAE proposal together. So in this, there's a discussion of what's good, what's not so good, how to do this, and then more importantly, how it is marked. Now, in future videos, we'll come back and have a look at how writing papers are marked in a lot more detail. But it's good to get an idea of what that looks like perhaps now. So bearing all of that information from those wonderful websites in mind, this is what I'd like you to do. Over my shoulder, you'll see the writing exercises for today in the relevant course books. So you've got there First Gold, First Expert, Ready for First, and for the CAE, you've got Gold Advanced, Advanced Expert, and Ready for Advanced. So have a look at those pages, have a look at those writing exercises, and if you have signed up to my website, CramTheExam.com. I'll go into details about how you can sign up for that in just a second. If you've signed up for my website, you can send me your writing exercises and I will mark them for you, comment on them, grade them, and get them back to you so you get feedback from me about how well you're doing in your writing exercises. If you don't have a course book, there is as you saw on those websites, there are plenty of materials which are free online. Unfortunately, I can't mark your on the exercises online. I just simply don't have the time to do that. So from time to time, I help out in the Facebook groups, but I'm simply not able to mark everyone's work for them. I'm sorry about that. But if you are interested in joining my website, then this is how you do it. As you can see above my head, these are the course books that I cover, and next to me you'll see the how much it costs to join CramTheExam.com. So if you've got the course book already and you just want access to my video materials and to me marking your writing exercises, then it's only 30 zlotys per month, which is around about 7 to 8 euros. If, however, you would like 3 months access, then I'll give you a course book for free. You can choose which one you want, and I'll throw in postage as well. So if you're in Poland, that'll come to 75 zloty. If you're in Europe, it's a little bit more expensive, 105 zloty. But even still, that's 22 to 24 euros, depending on the exchange rate. And as I said, you get 3 months access to my website. You get a free course book, choose whichever one you want, and I'll send it to you. I think on eBay in Euroland, if you just want to buy the course book itself is 30 euros or so. So I'm offering a fantastic deal for you if you're out there and you're preparing for your exam in Spain, Germany, Italy, France, wherever you might be. So there we go. Once again, these are the questions I'd like you to have a look at from the course books. In the video description below, you'll see all of the links to the web pages that I've gone through in this video, so you can click on them, read them in your own time, and start to learn and develop your English language skills. And I'll see you again tomorrow, where we're going to have another look at a listening exercise, part 2, I think, where there is a free online exercise and then a video explainer and exercises in course books as well, which I'll tell you all about tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow.